All right, we're ready to go.
All right, up, and there goes my dog. Hold on a second. Just a minute, guys. We'll be right with you. Let me just quiet down my dog.
All right, looks like we got a couple people popping in here. We're just about to get started, and you guys are in for a treat. So just hang in there with us, and we'll be on in just a second.
All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to get a quiet background. You know how it goes. It's quiet the entire day. Nobody's making a sound. The minute you turn on the mic and go live, pandemonium. So that's what we had going on here. But anyways, well, I'm really, really, really glad that you guys are here. Hopefully some other people will come and join us, because what we have today is that John is simply just going to answer your questions and look at your websites and, you know, give you his impressions of how your websites are doing and what you can do to improve them, and stuff like that. And if you don't have a website yet, then you should pay attention, because you'll learn from John what you should be thinking about as you build your website. So I guess if you have questions, John, can they raise their hands here, or how do they let us know that they want to open the mic?
Yeah, actually, the chat window is open. So if they want to go ahead and pop in the chat, I can allow them on live. And also, if you want me to review your site in the chat box, just go ahead and put your domain in there, and we'll pull it up on screen. I'll kind of go through it, give you best recommendations, and see how you're doing.
Right, and make sure that you're putting it into all, that everybody can see it, your questions and your websites. So before we look at websites, does anybody have any questions? Especially if you watched the last webinar, were you left, wondering about anything, or how to fix anything, or, have you checked on how you're doing, et cetera, et cetera?
All right, well, it looks like we got Carolyn on here, and she's got ccsballoons.com. So we'll take a look at that one first. If there's anybody else, I see we've got Wowza Balloonza, so we'll take a look at that one from Shannon. And anybody else, just go ahead and pop them in there. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. We're just going to go take a peek here. Okay, so this is, I said CCS, looks like CC's. Okay, gotcha. I remember this one because this is one I think we're working on here. So cool. Okay, another thing, I have another program. I'll look at the site and I'll give you some recommendations for the site too, which right out of the gate, I see a couple of things that I would recommend changing here. But I want to introduce you guys to this program, and this is what I use to kind of look behind the scenes. It's called SEMrush, and this is a paid tool, and it's kind of expensive for you guys if you're just, have your own website. But I use this tool on a day-to-day basis. It's like, I don't know that a day goes by when I don't use this because it's so awesome. And what it does, it will tell me what keywords that you rank for. Like this, CC's Balloons, it's currently only ranking for one keyword. There's no backlinks coming in. This is a good SEO indicator here. If backlinks are coming to the site, as I think you guys probably were on our last webinar when I kind of talked about search engine optimization and how to get traffic to your sites. And there was 3 key factors. There was the on-page optimization, which is like the code of your site. And I'm going to get into that in a minute and show you what's really important there. The second piece was these backlinks here. And what this is this is other people that link to you, kind of like a referral. It's like if somebody was referencing balloons on their site, and they put a link in there that, hey, go over to CC's Balloons, there's some cool stuff over here. And that link is kind of like a vote for popularity for your site. So that's what those backlinks are all about. So the more of those that you have, better off you are. And the fact that there's none probably alludes to the fact that this is a fairly new site. So, well, there's literally no traffic here. This is looking at a 1-year snapshot. And you'll see when we pull another one up that might have some a little more activity, you can kind of see this is a grid of traffic here. So anyway, this is what I really look at, and it's balloon photo frame. Now, when we go to the site here, I don't really see the site about being photo frames. So Google is already kind of got the wrong idea, because I see this more as, you know, party and entertainment, and over here, this keyword balloon photo frame, that's probably somewhere on the site. There's probably some kind of a photo frame on there as a maybe an accessory or sale or something. Now, there's a couple of things here when I look at this, when I look at the keywords that actually rank. One thing that's important is the position. This is in 89th position. So that basically means it's like 9 pages deep inside Google. That means it's probably never going to get seen, but Google's starting to like bring it into the picture. You don't really get much traffic until you get up into the top 10 here. That's being on the first page, and that's where the action really happens. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot to show you here because this looks like a fairly new site. But let's go over to the site itself, and I'll just kind of give you some pointers here, some important stuff. Now, you've got your right up here, the first thing that they're going to see, like this is the first point that the eyeball sees, is like the top left corner. That's why a lot of people will put their logo up there. That's like the first part that your eye sees. And what you have here is you've got Facebook, Pinterest, and I believe that's Instagram. And those are links. Remember I talked about links coming to your site, votes for popularity? Well, what you're doing here is right the second they hit your site, you're promoting them to leave. It should be the other way around. You should be getting traffic from Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram linking to you, not the other way around. It's kind of like you're taking all your power and authority and pushing it out to them and stripping yourself of it. Now, it's okay to have these links, but I would put them down here in the footer. I'd pop them down here somewhere, like you already have them there. So they could just be removed from the top. I would never put those kind of links in the header of the website. Phone number's great, you know, that's a good thing, so they can contact you. You got your contact us page. What I see up here, this home here, this is an amateur mistake to put home in your title. That's like most default website templates start out with home before you change them. So basically you're telling Google you didn't really take the time to change your title tag. And that's going to be one of the most important things. And where I see that is up here in the tab. What you see is when you roll over that, see how it pops up that home and then the bar and then CC's Balloons and Entertainment? It shouldn't have home in there. It should just be CC's Balloons and Entertainment and any other keywords that are appropriate for that page. Now, I'll show you where you find that information in the code of your site here in a second. But here's another thing. You've got all these different pages. So each one of these pages has a title of the page. Each one should be unique. Don't just take the same title and put it across. I see people doing that. And that's another amateur mistake. Every one of these is an opportunity to bring people into your site. It's kind of like a doorway. The more pages that the site has, let's think of it as a hotel. If you only have one page, that's like having a one-room hotel. You can't really serve too many guests. But if you've got 100 or even 1,000 pages, that's like having 1,000 rooms in your hotel, so you could be bringing people in for all kinds of different things. So more pages, as long as they're relevant and they have good content, more pages is good. But don't just make pages for the sake of making pages. Make sure the content on them is good. Now, the way that you see behind the scenes and the code is you right-click any place on a web page. You can right-click, and then you can go down to this tab called View Source. When you click that View Source, now you get this, some people say, oh, that just looks like gobbledygook. And it is. It's exactly what it is. But what you have here, this is the code that makes up your website. Now, when Google comes in here, this is how Google sees your site. Google does not see this. Your visitors see this. What Google sees is they see this. This is the way they look at your website. So the faster you can get to relevant content, the better off that you are. Very fast to relevant content. So here, what we're looking at, the first thing that you have is an HTML tag. That's normal. That's just telling Google this is an HTML page. Next, you have a head tag. And inside the head tag, this is where you have like all of the things that are not visible on the site, like that title I was talking about. Your favorite icon, they call it fav icon. This is where it's sitting right here. It says icon href equals, and there's the link to that fav icon, which is the two little balloons here. That's your fav icon. If you click on this, let's see, I'm just going to click that for a second. You'll see there's the two little balloons. So we'll go back. Okay, so next is title. This is what I was referring to, and it has home in it. So you should just take that home out, and then also it's got some funky code here for the little apostrophe between CC and S for CCs. So that should be cleaned up there. And then next, what I look for is there should be a description here. That's the two most important things, is title and description. And a lot of times people will leave the description off. And that's a bad thing, because when Google doesn't have a description, they don't really have anything to put in your listing, so they just grab something relevant or what they feel is relevant out of your site. So you're really leaving it up to them what they're going to fill in the blanks with there, and you don't really want to do that. So here's the end of the head tag. That means everything in between the beginning and the end head tag, this stuff is all invisible to the site. This stuff's not seen. And this should be very minimal amount of code here. And I'm sorry if I'm like boring you guys, if your eyes are rolling back in your head, but this stuff is really important if you want to rank on the search engines. So the fact that all of this stuff here, all of these, like, they look like paragraphs of gobbledygook, all that is, that's style. That's like a CSS style. You can see the tag here, it's style. But look at how many lines of code there is. It starts on line 24 here, and it goes through, let's see, goes through 212, 213. So you got a couple hundred lines of code there. And Google is like chewing through that looking for content, and it's just looking at this saying, yuck. It hasn't found anything. You know, you're 233 lines of code deep before we even find the body of the contents of your website. All of this stuff, all of this style, all of that can be referenced in a text file with one line of code. You just put it in a text file, you put it on a page or on a text file on your server, and then you just put one thing like a reference line here. See where this link and it's short icon, and then they reference the file. That's all it has to be. So you could, all of this gobbledygook could be in one simple little line like that. And then you really should have, like, you've got blank spaces here. This is where a description should go. And I didn't see a description in there. So you're missing the description. The title should be fixed. All of this stuff should be referenced in one line of code. And then basically the head tag is pretty much fixed and in good shape. And then you get into the body. Now the body, this is where your actual content lives. So you'll see this again, you've got a whole bunch of empty lines here that could be cleaned up. This is very sloppy code. So you got a whole bunch of that. Look at that. Google has to eat all this stuff up just to get to content. Like when we look at the actual site, see, here's where the content starts, and we haven't even got to that yet. We're like 500 lines in, and we haven't even got to the meat and potatoes yet. So again, Google, see, here's the end of the nav bar. 550 lines of code deep, and so far we're up to here. We've got like an inch and a half into the page. So you can kind of see when we talk about on-page optimization, it's optimizing this code for maximum results to basically get Google to what's relevant as fast as possible. That's what on-page optimization is all about.
If this is the way that the theme was written, which, you know, I imagine that almost all of us are using a pre-made theme.
Yeah.
I mean, how is that fixable, especially if you don't do code?
Well, it's not if you don't do code.
So I mean, is there a way to minimize the impact of it without, you know, getting into the code?
Well, what happens is there's a ton of, especially in WordPress. I don't think this is a WordPress site, although it might be. It didn't really look like a WordPress site. This is powered by Ballon Suite, so I'm imagining this is probably some sort of a template thing that they're making for the balloon industry, which is quite possible. So they probably have some template and they didn't really optimize it well. This home might not be fixable. A lot of these templates that people get, like when you get a Wix site or Squarespace, or, you know, some of these others where you're just buying into a template type site, they're really difficult to get in and actually make any manipulations because they don't want you messing with their code. So to me, I would rather have like a regular WordPress site, have a developer develop the site that does it right. You know, they might get a theme or something that you like, and then they'll just clean it up for you. And that way, you know, it's yours. You can do anything you want with your code on your website. But when you're working on someone else's template, they're a little picky about having you, you know, mess with their themes and their templates and stuff, because who knows what could happen. So that's, you know, that's just some of the stuff. I won't go through the pages, every page, but basically you've got your, what's good about this is you've got the pages named properly. Like when I roll over this, down at the bottom, I can see, you know, it says previous parties here. So when we click on it, previous parties is going to become part of the URL. So that part of it's done really well. But a lot of the other stuff just in the code itself is kind of sloppy. So anyway, let's go back and take a look. Let me see if I can find my chat window again here. So, okay, so let's take a look at another one here. How about Wowza Balloonza? We'll just take a quick peek at that one here. Okay, so I'm going to close out the code. We'll take a look at this one here and see what we got. All right. Okay, cool. So this one, this looks a little more like a WordPress, no, website builder, GoDaddy. Okay, so this is a GoDaddy theme template. It looks like the title, the title has been edited properly. Let's take a look at the code of this and see what we get here. Okay, same kind of thing. They still have a ton of stuff that could be referenced, but look at all this script stuff. The body No, that's not even the body, that's body class. Yeah, this definitely looks like GoDaddy code. And again, it's not really optimized for search engines. It's optimized to get the site to look pretty. Let's see here. These OG, this is actually an attempt at optimization. OG means open graph. So when you have open graph, that not only works for Google, it also works for things like Facebook and things that use the open graph. So there's the description. Here's the title, setting the stage for lasting memories. That's the title. But see, the open graph title is different than the site name title. So that's kind of interesting, because what I saw over here, it's showing Wowza Balloonza, which is right there. So it's site name. That's interesting. It's probably, oh, it's probably up here. They probably have a very long, yeah, there's the title. That's the actual title right there. So that's why that's showing up there. So the title and description regular are over here, and then over here you've got the OG title. But notice how this stuff here is all done clean and nice and one per line. And then this one up here, check this out. I'm going to scroll across. Look at that line of code. It's going to go on and on and on and on. There it is right there. Generator, they're putting in here GoDaddy website builder. So GoDaddy is actually feeding content to Google about themselves before you even get down to title. They're concerned with branding themselves in the middle of your website. That's the thing I really hate about these guys. You know, they're all about look at me. They don't really, it's like, I would never put that kind of stuff in a website. You know, I would never put that stuff in my client's website. It's like, that's their website. It's not a place for me to advertise. That's just not cool. Okay, so this site looks great though. This is actually a clean look.
Shannon's asking how to change that reference to GoDaddy in the code, and then also when you finish the on-site, are you going to look at the keywords in the other program?
Yes. Yep. Awesome. I was just going to pull that up next.
Perfect.
Now, the problem with the code over here in GoDaddy, they're probably not going to let you go change their code. It's a template. They're just kind of selling as is, and that's the way a lot of these are. Like GoDaddy, there's a ton of them out there. And they're basically made for people to build a website from home that really don't know what they're doing and don't care. Now, when you're running this as a business and your livelihood depends on it, these kind of things actually start to matter. And at that point, you've kind of outgrown those templates. That's really kind of what you're looking at there. But I don't really believe GoDaddy's going to allow you to edit their templates. Okay, so over here, okay, this one is just actually, I don't know if this is a new one either, but Google's not showing any keywords for this and 0 backlinks. So again, I hope you guys are like, a lot of times people will build websites for you, and I know GoDaddy will do this. I've seen them do this to a lot of people. They sell you on the domain, and then they sell you on their cheap hosting, and then they sell you on their website template, and then they sell you on their SEO, and they really don't do SEO. And I've seen this so many times, people paying for GoDaddy SEO, and they got 0 backlinks, and they have 0 on-page optimization. And a lot of times what they'll do, GoDaddy will list them in a bunch of directories, and then they don't even ping the directories, so they show up as backlinks here. It's like such a ripoff. So anyway, hopefully that's not the case here. Hopefully you're not paying a bunch of money to to have GoDaddy optimize this and all that good stuff for you. Okay, Julie says my website is under construction to take advantage of the review later. Yeah, absolutely. Julie, I have on my website, it's internetdominators.com. You guys are all welcome to go there anytime you want. You can schedule like a 15-minute consultation. And basically, I would just, kind of go through what I'm doing right now with you individually. So not a problem. Okay, let's see. Carolyn, I'm not quite sure how the service will help us increase traffic to site. Okay. Okay, so apparently that is a new site. So basically the service, I think you're referring to our SEO boost service, which we did the webinar on. And what that is like the third piece of what we talked about. We have on-page optimization. We have the off-page, which was the link building. And then there's the third piece that Google looks at is how people interact with the site. Now, believe it or not, you can completely blow the first two, but if you have users interacting with the site, that's enough signal for Google to start ranking you and start giving you a shot. So even though you don't have anything going on, it can still help you even if you're just starting out, even if you're just getting out of the gate. Now, I always would recommend, like when I review a site that we're going to take on for the service, I always recommend, to do what you can as far as the on-page. Like if it was a website that was a one-page website, there was no content on it, and it didn't have any reason to rank, I wouldn't take it on as a client. I would say, you really kind of need to do some work developing the site before I can help you with it as far as that SEO boost service. But, you've got the site put together. It's just like you're just starting off at the starting gate. Okay, let me take a look at another one here, Balloon Utopia. Let's see if this one's got anything going on here. Okay, here we go. This one, 8,000 backlinks. Now we're talking. Somebody's done their homework here.
It's also a pretty old site from 2000, so.
Okay, well, cool. Yeah, no, that's not a problem. So what I want to show you, this is what I was talking about, the graph over here. You can look at like all time. Like I could tell you when this started back here in 2012. And then we can see, it kind of had a big hit here in May of 2015. I can tell a lot about a site from this program. But what we want to do here, and that's big, that's like 5,000. That's a 5,000 spike there back in May of 15. And that was kind of an SEO heyday, and it looks like you spiked and then tanked. So anyway, but let's look at the last year. So the last year, traffic started out here at about 120, and then now currently it's about 95. So it's kind of bouncing around. It's fairly stable, but you can see it's declining. It's going down, not up.
Yeah, I haven't done anything to it in years.
Yeah, and this is this is actually pretty normal. If you've got a site just riding out, it could still hold its value for a very long time. It just kind of, what it does, it meets competition. Every day there's new competition coming online, and they just kind of tick off. They just kind of chew it a little bit at a time as it goes. But here's the exciting part. Here is 926 keywords that this site is ranking for. And again, over here, you can see the position. You can see this is the volume of traffic. This is the number of people that run that search per month. And 260 people a month search for balloons San Diego. And this site is number 4. So you can
I lost some serious position there. I used to have number 1 on everything.
Yeah. Well, number 1 would get you a considerable amount more traffic than number 4. So number 4 is, it's like The top 3 is getting the big chunk of the traffic, and then it drops off radical at 4, and 4 through 9 are about equal, and then the 10th one actually goes up a little bit. That blows everybody's mind that number 10 gets more traffic than number 9.
Yeah.
And this is just purely by the numbers. And what it is, it's like when people scroll to the bottom, they have 2 choices. Either they scroll back up or they click. And just by laziness, they'll click. It's easier to click 10 than scroll back up and look again. So that's why 10 has a little bit of a bump. But if I click on the full report here, that way I can go here and I can see the whole enchilada. And sometimes it takes a couple minutes. There we go. Not bad. But Balloon Utopia San Diego, this one is a new keyword. It was never there before, and now it's number 2. So that's a new one on the scene. Here's one that went up 7 slots, hot air balloon centerpiece. But you can see all of these, and what I look for is I look for these numbers of volume to be high. Like this one, 1,600 people. And I don't know if that's something that hot air balloon centerpiece, but if that's, a good keyword for you, getting up in the traffic there, you got a lot of people searching for that.
I imagine they're finding an image for my website on that one.
Okay. Here's one, 480 balloon animal instructions. Now that keyword's probably somebody looking to do it themselves. That might not be a real commercially viable keyword. So.
But that's good to know for a YouTube video.
Yeah, like here's the difference between commercially viable. Over here in this column, it's cost per click. This is what advertisers are willing to pay. Like this one, they're willing to pay $3.04 a click for balloon delivery, Hollywood, California. That tells me that that keyword's worth some money. When you go to the instructions, it's only 89 cents. Next one down, birthday party balloon decoration price, back up to $3. Grand entrances, San Diego, that's kind of vague, so it's not worth much. So you can kind of see this can be, it's not always a perfect indicator, but sometimes if there's a high pay per click here, that's an indicator of high commercial value. Sometimes though, like here, 50th birthday balloon arch, that's probably a fairly expensive thing and no one's bidding on it. So you could steal that traffic if you wanted to pay for it. And that's another thing, you can find opportunities like that in here. So anyway, this is literally a treasure trove of information here by volume of searches, what your competitors are willing to pay for it, and where your positioning is. Now our service where we boost these, this is where it really makes sense. Like if you've got a bunch of keywords that are on page 2 and 3, we can boost them up to the first page really quickly. That's where it really comes into play. So that's where the big bang for the buck is. Let's see, let's take a look at the site here real quick. All right, so it looks a little dated. It's even got the old G+ that doesn't even exist anymore. and little tiny text, and I think your audience probably is not millennials.
No, but it is responsive. Those are clickable.
They are responsive, but they're so small.
Yeah.
It's like, I think your audience is an older crowd, and they might be like me. Their eyes might not be doing so well anymore.
I don't know. I do a lot of corporate, so corporate tend to be the millennial executive assistants.
Okay. Well, I would just make them a little bigger there.
Yeah.
I would definitely get this stuff out of your header for sure. Just like I said, before, I would never put those kind of links up in the header. It's okay to have them on the site, but just move them on down where they belong, right down here. And you've got good internal linking. You've got some external linking. Let's see. Okay, this is all internal linking, so that's good. Internal linking. Remember I was talking about linking before? Linking is good even if it's inside your site, because a link inside your site or outside your site says there's valuable information on the other side of this click. And when Google sees that, it sees the text here, and here it says DIY Balloon Hat Bible. So when Google clicks that, it's expecting to see that on the other side, and here it is. It's exactly what it expected to see, and they like that. They
No
they
words
love
though.
they love having that match up. It's that relevance content. So again, you've got good content on the site. I think obviously the site is ranking. The site is doing well. It just could probably do a little better with maybe a little tweak here and there.
A facelift maybe.
A little bit of a facelift, yeah.
Modernize it. The thing is, it's such a huge site.
Well, is this a WordPress site?
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing about WordPress is it's so easy to change the look of it because it's just a couple of tweaks to the theme.
Yeah.
So to update a WordPress site is really, really easy to somebody that is good at coding and the actual development part. There's a big difference between having somebody build your website that really knows how to do it versus somebody that buys a template and pastes your content into it. There's a huge difference between those two. It's like, when we talk about web developers, anybody, and I mean anybody, if they can put two coherent words together in a sentence, they can build a website.
Mhm.
But that does not mean that Google's going to like it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be good for the viewers and all of that stuff. So it's kind of like photography. Anybody with a camera, and nowadays anybody with a cell phone is now a photographer. It doesn't mean that they're award-winning. They can do award-winning photography. So anyway, that's just kind of something to keep in mind. Let me take a look at this one here. What do we got? Mad about balloons. Take a quick peek at that one and see what we got. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to throw them my way.
That's right, guys. This is meant to be, an informal opportunity for you guys to get your questions answered from one of the biggest experts, if not the biggest expert out there. So don't be shy. Like, don't just hide in the shadows, but go ahead and put your questions in the chat log, or let us know if you want to have the mic opened up and ask your question.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that too. If you want to speak on here, I can open you up, no problem. So this is a good example, this madaboutballoons.com. This is a good example of a starting out site. It looks like you got off to a start in May. Now you might have had the site around for a while before that, but this is kind of where Google took notice and they started sending it. It's not a lot. You got 7 here, 7, 5, 4, and then popping up to 6. So this is quite normal to kind of bounce around and get that. But they're already ranking you for 14 keywords and you're going up. This is a 27% increase. So you are headed in the right direction. You got some good backlinks here coming into the site. And this is really important. Mad About Balloons is your brand. Google's picking you up and noticing. It's recognizing this is a brand. That is a really, really good thing these days, because if you're not known as a brand, you're not known. If Google kind of looks at this from an artificial intelligence perspective, They're learning what the users want. They're learning what's popular and what is good. And what they've come to recognize is if no one knows your brand and you're not important enough for people to know about you, why should they care enough to put you in their search engine? And that's kind of sad, because what that does is that makes it a very unfair game. That makes it to where, it used to be the little guy could play and the field was level. All you had to do was show up and you had a shot at the title. And nowadays, it's not that way anymore. Nowadays, if you show up and you're an unknown, trying to get yourself known is really tough. You're fighting against big brands. You can run a search right now for just about anything you can imagine, and you'll see that the results are going to show you they're all big brands at the top. And that's because of that brand recognition. What our service does, our boost service, is it will take keywords that maybe you're not ranking for or not ranking very well for, and it starts showing Google that people are searching, but they're looking for your brand in connection with that keyword. So what that does, that shows Google people do know about your brand and they care about your brand. And that being said, Google should care too, and they do. So that's what you want to aspire to. If you're just getting started out, your brand is really important. Like doing press releases that send links over to your brand shows Google, hey, something's going on. People are linking to this. This brand is known even though people aren't searching for it. When we throw the searches on top, that's just like fuel on the fire to get that ball started. So that's pretty good. Let's take a look at the site itself. Let's see what we got here. Okay, one thing I noticed, it took a while for it to load. That's slow loading sites, and this kind of stuff where things are like doing weird stuff like that, kind of distracting. It's a WordPress site, so this is a good start. A theme, Sugar and Spice by Web Titus. This is another thing. People are linking off of your site for their benefit. So there's no reason for that to be in your website. That's other people promoting themselves in your space. So I would definitely take that stuff off. These, I would just put them in the footer. Let's see about the top here. This all looks good. This is good stuff. The structure, the linking, the internal linking looks good. Okay, the title looks good. So you got a lot going for you on this one. This one's like prime to go. This one's in pretty good shape. Okay, let's see. Pictures are clickable. One thing I see here, these pictures don't seem to have the alt tags in place. When you roll over an image, there should be a little window that pops up that says what the image is, and that's from an alt text. It's like a piece of code that when you put the image in, and what it's for, what that piece of code is for, it's basically for blind people. It's ADA compliancy for a website. And it's looked at as important, because if a blind person comes onto your site and they roll over your image and there's no alt tag, they can't see it. And they can't see already, so you've disadvantaged them. So it's like that's what people look at when they're blind. It's like Braille. They roll over the image, they should be able to read it, and they can't here. And the search engines take that as a sign of whether you're serious or not. Like there's a lot of states and a lot of counties now that require you in your business. They require you to facilitate for the handicapped. Like, if you don't have a handicapped bathroom, you can get fined in a lot of places for that. So it's the same thing online. What's in the real world is always migrating online. So that's something that you want to.
I've been reading a lot of articles of brands being sued for not being online ADA compliant.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really easy to do. Like in WordPress, you go to edit this image and you'll see right in the edit box, there's just a thing called alt text, and you just simply type it in. It's really simple to do. No reason not to do it. It takes like seconds to fix that. The other thing about compliancy, as long as we're on that subject, I've noticed in all of these sites down at the bottom, if you're selling stuff online, or if you're even collecting email addresses online, you need to have privacy policies, you need to have terms of service, terms of use, you need to have your legal ducks in a row. If you're doing commerce, and it's probably not as aggressive in this industry, but I still would not take a chance. If you're selling anything online, it doesn't matter whether it's a service, a product, or whatever, you need to protect yourself. It's like the bare minimum. You need a privacy policy and you need terms of service. And what could happen if you don't do that? Like if you go to my site, I've got all that stuff. Let me just show you what it looks like. Let's see here. Okay, so this is my site. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom here. So under the legal category, I have privacy policy, terms of use, earnings disclaimer, testimonials and results. If you have anybody that is giving you a testimonial on your site, you have to have this. And down here, if you're interested in this, click on this button here. It's new FTC rules. This is the Federal Trade Commission. They're the ones that regulate this stuff. And if you do not have this stuff on your site and somebody complains, like somebody puts in a consumer complaint against you, these guys have to look at it. If they go to your site and they see that you don't have this stuff, you're just fair game for them to come after. And what that means for them to come after you, I don't want to scare anybody, but what this means is they seize all your assets until they figure it out. And I'm not kidding. I know like 3 people that this has happened to. And they're not in a hurry to figure it out either. And they don't just seize your business assets, they seize your personal assets too. I mean, they lock up your bank accounts. It's scary. And there's no one that governs these guys.
Do you have, I mean, like if I want to revamp my website or, just at least, put all this footer stuff in and stuff like that without moving it to a different server, and I know how you feel about Bluehost, but I've been there for a long time and I know how to log in.
Yeah, no problem.
But do you have can your team just do kind of a cleanup on website?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's no problem at all.
And then also, I know we were talking earlier about how I've been really lazy about setting up my full book site. And just, I mean, I know how to build my own WordPress site, but I just, don't have time to do it. So
yeah.
Are you hireable, or is your team hireable to take that on?
Yeah, absolutely. I can get just about anything you want done. So not a problem. Okay, let's see. I think we looked at Matt about balloons already. That one.
Right. And so we got a couple of questions here in the chat log here. Is there a template site you recommend? That is, do you recommend Wix or WordPress, Squaresite, etc.? And then Shannon's asking, how long does it take for backlinks to show up? That is, if your website's only a few months old, like what do you need to do to get Google to notice it quicker?
Gotcha. Okay, well backlinks, basically, it's how quickly Google finds them. So if you want a backlink to show up really fast, put a link to your site from YouTube. I mean, if you open a YouTube account and you put up a simple, just any kind of video, just a simple video, and in the description box, you put a link to your website, Google will find that link within seconds. And
Hey, and if you don't want to start your own brand new YouTube channel, but you knew somebody that had a pretty decent sized channel that needed content anyway, would that have any
exactly,
benefit to show, to have a video on their channel?
absolutely, yeah.
Maybe if they had 64,000 subscribers or something?
Yeah, that would probably make sense.
Because I happen to know somebody with such a channel that has, has mentioned that
You could actually,
all my people, if you want to put a video on my channel, as long as you're teaching something and it's instructional,
yeah, you
I
could
would
do
love
that
to host it.
as a, you could do that as a service, you
Well,
know?
I don't need to do it as a service. I mean, it's a win-win, I think, because
Yeah,
I'm out of I'm out of videos at the moment.
yeah, you get good content, they get a great link, it's a win-win for everybody.
So something to think about, guys. If you're on if you're on the webinar right now, even if you're new, maybe you do something with making a centerpiece that's non-balloon. Maybe there's something that you do, as long as it's family friendly and instructional, and can somehow be tied to balloons or or larger events. I would love to host it. You can send me your video. I'll make a really nice introduction, totally talking you up. I'll give you your backlink. And I mean, I don't know. Is it just that it comes from YouTube, or is there some strength in coming from something that's established as well?
Oh no, established is great because if the YouTube channel has traffic, then it's more likely that more people will click the link. The more people that actually click the link and go through to the site, that's an even bigger win. So
Right.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So guys, take me up on that offer. And for those of you who are going to listen to this later, I'm really serious about this. Make me a video. Reach out to me. Let's talk about it. And it has to be something that you can't be teaching like somebody's. I'm teaching Joe Schmo's dog. I mean, it has to be your spin on it. But do hit me up about it. Sorry, I didn't
Oh
need to
no,
interrupt with that, but
no problem.
seems
I
like a
just
timely place to put it.
I just saw something here. I was just beating you up over G plus, and I've got it too. So it looks like I need to do some updates myself.
The shoemaker's children.
There you go. But anyway, if you guys are interested, this is a really cool article about this FTC rules and what they actually monitor and what it's all about. And then this company here, it's called FTC Guardian. These are the guys that I use, and I've got a link to them right there if you need this done, but they write these policies for you, and it's done by an actual internet attorney. And when you go here, like this page, all of this stuff right here is populated by a widget, and if the rules change, he updates the widget from his end and it magically updates on my site. So I'm always compliant and it's always verified by this company that is actual legal law firm. So you can see right here, Jones and Haley PC. They're licensed, and I'm fully covered. So that's always a good thing. So anyway, was there other sites here? Did I miss any sites to go back and look at here?
Carolyn is asking how a site can be easily converted to WordPress from a Wix or other templated site that may not work as well.
Oh, we can
She's
convert anything.
asking about cost. If your team does it, I don't know if that's just for the conversion or for a full site build that she's asking.
Yeah, we can do either one. It's really looked at as the same thing. A lot of times when you've got a templated site, it's basically you got what you got because that's what was offered. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the best thing or it was exactly what you wanted. And the cool thing with us when we do that, like let's say we're going to take a Wix site and we were going to rebuild it in WordPress, you would have the opportunity now to make it exactly the way you wanted it. So if there was stuff about it that you didn't like, that's the perfect time to change it and fix it. And a lot of times what I've done when I've had a lot of people that tell me, I want my site to just be converted to WordPress and I want it to look exactly the same. And I'm like, no problem, we can do that. But I say, if you give me a little latitude, let my guy just do a mock-up for you to show you what it could look like. And if you don't like that, we'll just make it exactly like it is. And everybody always agrees to that. And I've never had somebody go with the original. They always go with the mock-up. They're like, oh my God. So, so yeah, we can do it either way. Let's see here.
I think I definitely need you to do my site.
Yeah, I mean, they blow me away because I'm not a designer, you know. I'm like the behind the scenes guy. I can look at strategy and code and, you know, tell you how to sharpen your sword all day long, but if you want me to make something look pretty, I'm like, oh, let's call for help. So that's why these guys are so good that I've got on my team. We've got guys that design, and then we've got guys that build. And the builders are very, you know, they've been trained by me as far as, you know, how to do the back end building stuff. Many times when you hire a, you know, just a web developer, that's what they are. They just, you know, they're just building websites. They don't know about the coding a lot of times, and they know how to make things pretty, but they don't know how to make it really functional. And to me, the functional is more important than the pretty. I mean, I think everybody should have a good looking site, but I don't think anybody should suffer having a good looking site and suffer functionality because of it.
Elizabeth is reiterating her question about what template you recommend
Uh,
between Wix, WordPress, Squaresite.
you know, I don't really know what their templates are. I know they've got pre-made templates in all of those different builders. As far as in WordPress, there's a website out there called Theme Forest, and Theme Forest has millions of themes of WordPress websites. What you want to look for, the most important thing about a theme or a template is making sure it's what is called responsive. Responsive means that it looks good on a mobile device, it looks good on a tablet, and it looks good on a website. So no matter what you're using to look at the site, it changes to look good for the device. That's what responsive means. So make sure when you're picking a template that it's responsive. That's like the biggest thing I can tell you. As far as templates, you know, what looks good to one person is going to be totally different to another. Um,
I had always heard that Google really liked WordPress because it was so updatable
yeah,
and generally so SEO friendly.
yeah, that's the thing. WordPress, the thing that made WordPress really a phenomenon was the fact that it made people be able to edit their own websites and be able to add content. And, you know, the thing that really bothered me, and it still does to today, it just really bothers me, this whole word about blog. Maybe it's just me, but a blog is nothing more than a web page. I'm like, you know, who the hell had to come up with a different name for it? And, you know, that's all it is. WordPress just made it easy to create pages. Like you could create a page every day, and somebody got the idea that that was like a diary and not a website, and they started calling it a blog. And and I got to tell you, if you're just creating stuff for the sake of creating content, you need to kind of take a step back and look at your overall strategy. When you guys are creating content, every piece of content that you make as a business owner should be a piece of marketing content. Like nobody cares about what you had for breakfast. Okay, not in the business world anyway. They might eat that stuff up on Facebook. Your family and friends might love it, but that's where it should stay. Do not put that stuff on your website. If everything on your website should be an opportunity for someone to work with you, what you try and do is you need to, these are the things that your website should be focused on. It's either grabbing someone's attention, creating demand and desire for your product or service, eliminating any objections, and making an offer. If you're creating content that doesn't fit in one of those buckets, you're kind of wasting your time. And if you create a bunch of pages on your site that nobody cares about, Google's going to see that as poor interaction, and they're not going to like the site as much. If every page of your site is exciting and people want to click and spend time and consume more and more, Google's going to say, wow, I should send more people here. That's the bottom line. So hopefully that's like helpful.
And Carolyn's asking about the estimated price range for website conversion and if it includes optimization and SEOs. And then also, Julie, are you on? Do you want us to look at your website? I think Julie has a website that should be somewhat established as well.
Okay, sure.
So if she's on, and she, let us know in the chat log, Julie. But anyway, sorry. Back to Carolyn's question.
Sure.
Let you answer that.
Yeah, as far as price, there's all kinds of prices from developers out there. Most of them I consider to be fairly expensive for what they are. A lot of times what you will get is you wind up paying for someone to learn. And I don't really condone that. I see people charging thousands of dollars for WordPress sites, and there's not that much work to do it. You should probably not be paying more than $1,000 for a very advanced WordPress site. So it should be less than $1,000 depending on what's going into it. And SEO, there's the on-page optimization that can be part of that build, but the rest of the SEO, that's kind of an ongoing thing, like link building and sending search signals. That's not like a one-time thing. That's something that you should be doing on an ongoing basis. So the only part of SEO that would be built into the build price would be your on-page stuff. So that's kind of the way that goes. But I would expect you should be able to find somebody that is really good to build a really nice site for under $1,000. If you're over that, you might want to keep looking. So there's lots of people out there. It's just kind of hard to vet them because, like I said, everybody's going to tell you they're a great web developer. You've got people like every day I open my email box and I've got 10 people soliciting me for web development. And, most of them are in India, and there's nothing wrong with that. Several of my guys are actually in India. I've trained them. They worked there. They're considerably cheaper than getting U.S. labor. And I'm not one to bash the United States, but I got to tell you, people here, they want a lot of money and they don't want to do much work for it. It's kind of sad. I have a lot of my guys that do my SEO stuff. My team there is in the Philippines. And, they're really hard workers. They're highly educated. They're highly motivated. And they're very inexpensive. It's a huge value to me to be able to supply that kind of value to my customers at the prices that I can do it for. So, but getting someone that's really good that you can trust, that's the hurdle. That's the big thing.
So if Carolyn or anybody else wanted to talk to you about their specific website or website conversions, how could they reach you to do that?
Sure, you can just go onto my site, the Internet Dominators. I'll show you. It's up. Let me go back to the home page here. If you go on here, there's this free 15-minute marketing review and strategy session. You can just go ahead and book an appointment right there, and that'll get you on my calendar, and we can take a look at what you're doing, what you need, and we can go that route. That's pretty easy.
And so, Julie, that would be the same thing that you would do once you finish working on it.
Yeah, and it's internetdominators.com. So
awesome.
easy to find, easy to search. I'm all over the place. So
does anybody else who's on have a website that they want us to look at? Let me see if I can find just a couple more websites, maybe some of the people that aren't on right now.
Sure, and here's something here. I wanted to kind of cover the subscribe. What you're doing here, this is a Hail Mary. This is like if somebody comes here and puts their email address in to subscribe, they don't know what they're subscribing for. And you're having them sign up, but to what? So when you have calls to action, like sign up is a call to action. What you need before the call to action is you need to tell them what they're going to get. Like for instance, over here, I didn't just say sign up here. I said there's a free 15-minute marketing review and strategy session. Get yours today. That's the call to action, but you know exactly what you're going to get here. I'm leading it in with a pain point. Is your business providing the freedom you deserve? That's kind of making you think, oh, maybe I need some help here. And then I point out your website must attract the right visitors, get traffic from Google, and convert your visitors. That means you need to turn them from viewers into paying customers. And then I've created a lot of pain here. And right here, I'm offering to solve the pain in a free 15-minute marketing review and strategy session. So when you look at your offer, this is a very weak offer here. This is like sign up for, I don't know what I'm signing up for. So whenever you do this, that's called conversion, and Google sees conversion as very important. When people convert on your site, that means that they've engaged. So what you want to do, think about when you make an offer like this, and even sign up here, even though there's no money transacted here, this is an offer. You're offering something of value, and you're asking for something of value in exchange for it. Like when you ask for their email address, they have to make a decision there whether they want to buy into that. Even though it's not costing them in dollars, it's costing them in trust. Do they trust that you're not going to take their email address and go and sell it to a list that's going to spam them? They're taking a risk here. So there's a risk, but there's no reward other than sign up. So what I always try and do when I'm going to create an offer is I do three things in any offer. I say, here's what I've got, here's what it's going to do for you, and here's what I want you to do next. Those are the three things here's what I want you to do next is sign up. That's number 3, but you're missing the first 2. So that's a really important thing when you're putting your websites together, having calls to action. And generally, you'll want to engage them up here above the fold, because there's no better place to engage somebody as when they first hit the site. It's make a promise, give them an offer, and fulfill on that promise. Okay, let's see. I got one here. Looks like pop art balloons. Let's take a look at that one. Okay, looks good. I got the title right. Pop art events and designs, though. Pop art events and designs. So if you're all about balloons, balloons should be in the title somewhere. Pop art events and designs, balloons. See, it's here, but it's not up here in the title. That title is one of the most important things to Google because it tells Google what the page is about. And if this page is heavily about balloons, it should be in the title. Okay, so no social media stuff up here. That's good. Let's see the links. That all looks good. And when I'm rolling over these links, what I'm looking at is the lower left corner of the screen. It shows the URL if you click the link. So that when I'm rolling over those saying that looks good, that's what I'm looking at down in the bottom there. Okay, that's a clickable phone number, so that's great for mobile. Oh, the other thing, if you want to see if a site is responsive, what you can do is you can click the resize window here, And notice when this is, let's see, let me move this over. Okay, so see how it's changing? So this is a responsive site as it changes. So let me go this direction. I'll close it down and you can see, like right now we've got the full menu, but as we go, it's going to start changing. See how it just changed there? And then it's going to change again. As soon as you can't get the menu on the screen, see it went to a drop down. This is what a phone would see. So that's what I mean by responsive. You want to make sure your template is responsive. That's really an important piece here. Okay, so let's see if this one, yeah, this one is responsive. See how it's changing there? Now the three little dots, that's your menu. So that rolls out your menu. So that's what it looks like on a mobile phone. So that's looking good. Okay, so we got the links down at the bottom where they should be. Pop art. Again, there's that. I hate that. I hate those links going off your site, powered by Squarespace, but that's probably, again, part of their template. That's just something you got to live with. A lot of times they do stuff cheap, and that's just, you know, that's part of what you're paying for, is letting them put that on your site. Okay, let's go back over here. Take a quick look. This is what I love. I love looking under the hood. Okay, so interesting. You got some links. Oh, let me go back here. I went into the wrong, I went on the keyword page and started there. But it looked like the site had some links, but no keywords found yet. So this is kind of a red flag if the site has been up for any length of time that it's not ranking for anything. That's kind of suspicious. Sheena, can you tell me in the chat how old the site is? Is this a new site, or has this been around for a while? Let's see here. Okay, pop art balloons. Okay, so it is indexed. Google does see it for itself. Now, if you want to see, this is a little trick. If you want to see if your site is indexed, you can put site colon and then your domain name here. So you just paste your domain name in there and then hit enter, and what it'll do, it'll show you that there's 3 results. So basically 3 pages are indexed. So it's seeing your work page, the page that's our work, and it's seeing contact. So those are the only pages that it's recognizing. So this page here, our work, and contact us. So it hasn't even found any of the rest of this stuff yet. And that's typically, yeah, okay, so it's only 2 months old, so that makes sense. It just really hasn't kind of caught on yet. But the good thing is, over here, it is indexed. So if you, this would be a huge red flag. If you did site colon popartballoons.com and nothing came up, it said nothing found, that would kind of tell me that that site had been penalized. And you definitely do not want to have a site that's been penalized. So you're okay here. It's just you're off to a start. So nothing to worry about. Let me go back and look. Let's see. Let me go back and look at the links. Okay, so I would say these links were probably done by someone that is SEOing the site. And this here, follow versus no follow, this is kind of a an indicator if these links have been engineered or if they're natural. And what you should have, no follow links, you should have a considerable amount of no follow links if this is natural. And here you've only got 2% is no follow. 97.5% are follow links, which follow links, like for an SEO guy, they always want the follow links because they think they're more valuable. They're really not. The value is in a natural linking portfolio. So let me look here. And anchor links. What this is, this means like somebody has a keyword out there called website and it's linking to you. That's an anchor text. That's the clickable part of the link. One domain is sending you 199 links, all from website. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure how that happened. Maybe you got on a footer of a site with a lot of pages and they had website linked to you, which is kind of odd. It would make a lot more sense if it was your domain name or something like that, or even your brand name. Okay. This looks like a singular referring domains. So a singular creation is sending you 239 of your backlinks. So all of these backlinks are coming from this one place. I don't know what that is, but that would explain why the percentages were kind of weird there. Let's take a look at this and see what this is. The singular creation art community. So you probably have a listing on here somewhere, and see how this link, see how where it's underlined. So what's clicking through to you is just website. You probably put or look at my website. You linked the website word, which isn't really optimal. It should be your name or something relevant to that. So anyway, that's kind of the basics to SEO. You've got your on-page optimization, you've got your link building, and then the fact that the thing that actually feeds Google the candy that it's really looking for, or the cookie that's going to make it want milk, is the site interaction. People actually engaging with the site, clicking links to come through, running searches with your brand name, and clicking through from there. That's kind of the three key components here to get ranked at the top. And for those of you that don't know if like why you're here, that search traffic can be a game changer in your business. If think about it as a referral source. The way the world used to work is, we used to ask our friends, who we use or who they like. And, a lot of things would be purchased from referrals from friends. Well, times have changed radically over the last 20 years. People are now not going to the wall asking their neighbors. They're going to their computer and they're asking Google. And if Google refers you, that's like the best referral source in the world, because people are, I say search traffic is the best traffic you can get. It's the best form of advertising because people are in mode. They're like in searching. It's like being at the right place at the right time. All other sources of advertising are disruptive. It's like if you're running ads on Facebook, yeah, they can work really well, but you better be really good at it, because if you're on Facebook, you're not looking for stuff. You're not on Facebook to buy stuff. You're on Facebook to see what your family's doing and hang out with your friends and be in fun mode. But when you're trying to disrupt them with an ad and take them out of that mode, you better be really good at it if that's going to work for you. The opposite is true of Google. When somebody goes to Google, they're not in fun mode. They're looking to solve a problem. They're looking to find something. Talk about being at the right place at the right time. How would it be to show up when your ideal customer is looking for you or looking for what you offer? Talk about a win-win. That it doesn't get any better than that. So, that's what this game is all about. That's how it's played. Showing up at the right place at the right time. So that's why this is so important. I've spent most of the last 25 years of my life focused on search engine traffic, and I've gotten really good at it because it makes such a difference, not only in my life, but in all of my customers' lives. And showing people how to do this, because it really can be a game changer for you. So I think I think we've looked at all the sites here.
Yeah, I think so. I put it out a last minute call, but I
Okay.
think with the time changes and the date changes, there may have been some confusion.
Yeah. But if anybody's got, any more questions, feel free to, you know, pop them in here. Or if you want me to look at your site, if it's not ready now, just, feel free to go to my site, internetdominators.com, and I'm happy to help you guys anytime.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to throw out for all of you guys that don't know, I don't know if it's the day, but it's certainly the time for Sandy's birthday here.
That was last week. Yeah. This is the end of my marathon celebration.
All right. Well, happy birthday. And I'm sure everyone else will agree to share in your celebration here.
Thank you. Shayna is asking what service she would benefit from. She's not sure what she should ask you for, the website we were just looking at. And for the rest of you guys, if you have any questions, now's your chance to put them in the chat log.
Yeah,
You,
actually,
you can get a consult with John later, but if you have a question, don't let the opportunity pass you by. He's right here right now. So before
yeah,
you sign off, I want to give you another chance here.
absolutely. So, as far as like the services that we provide just about anything you need. I have teams of people that are all under my command to do just about anything you need. Um, let's see, Sheena was pop art balloons, right?
Yeah.
Let me take a look. The logo looks awesome. The site, let me look and see if it's responsive, which it is. So that's good. I would say, let's see, I would say that probably is, I would definitely send the search signals at it, because Google's not really ranking it for much right now. So it kind of needs a nudge. And the fact that it had 239 backlinks, that was a false positive. So it really hasn't had any kind of off-page optimization, no link building yet. So I would say link building would be important to you. Maybe taking a deeper dive. I might go in and look at the code a little bit more in depth for you and see what we can recommend there. I don't know. It's on Squarespace, though. I'm not really sure how much we have the latitude to edit that code. So, but I would first, before you get too deep, regardless of what you do, if you redesign the site or whatever, you're still going to want incoming links, and you're going to want those authority signals going to the site. So that would probably be a good first step.
Is SEMrush a free thing, or is that a subscription service?
It's a subscription service. I believe they're like 99 bucks a month right now. But if you want to use it, just for your own personal use for a limited time, you can get a 7-day trial, I believe. And you can get just about everything you need out of it in that time, if it's just for one site.
Or sign up for that 15-minute consult with John.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to look at those things for you, and I can point out what's important and all that, because if you weren't in this game and you bought it and you didn't really know what you were doing with it, it'd probably be a waste of money. I'm not a big one to have people buy stuff if they don't really need it.
Oh God, I have so many pieces of software that I don't think I've ever even logged into. Like, I don't even know all the things that I've spent money on. I just got AppSumo the other day, and I don't even know why.
I tell everybody, whenever I coach people or anything, the first thing I do is I say, just stop buying stuff.
Right?
Just stop. I'm like, let's create a strategy And the strategy will tell you exactly what you need and when you need it. And, let's buy appropriately.
I think what I bought was something for live streaming on Facebook or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh,
Shiny objects.
yeah, it all looks great till you have to do it.
Right, or figure out how to use it or interpret it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so guys, last call for questions. I like to go on and on and on, but I don't want to keep John all night. So last call for questions. If you're here, if you're not here and you're catching this in the replay, John's website is internetdominators.com. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Internetdominators.com. And my recommendation would be to go ahead and sign up for that 15-minute consult. As you can see, John's a really nice guy. He's not going to just try to sell you a bunch of crap. And he'll be very honest with you about what you need or don't need.
Yeah, that's one game I never played, so you're safe with me.
So, and John, I really, really appreciate you making the time for these 2 webinars for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been so informative, and as soon as I figure out which one of my 10,000 domains I want to use for my books, put your team on notice that they'll be building my site, because I really hate the page I have right now.
All right, well, we're ready when you are.
Yeah. I just have to figure out who I want to be when I grow up.
Oh, there you go. Don't we all?
And I probably should have your team, update my Balloon Utopia site to do better as well, since I've been so lazy on it for 4 years.
Well, that one had some good traction, so you probably don't need a heck of a lot on that one.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of bringing it into this decade.
Yeah, give it a little bit of love.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, it was great. Again, happy birthday. And you
Thank
guys,
you.
if you want more help, just hop on there to internetdominators.com and sign up for that 15-minute thing, and I'll get you whatever you need.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you guys that are here with us live, thank you for taking the time out of your day and your patience with the changes in dates and times as we both had unknown previous conflicts.
We had a crazy world out there.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, have a great evening and the rest of your weekend here, what's left of it, and hope to hear from you soon.
Thanks, guys. And thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you, John.
You're very welcome.